Welcome to Scottsdale on the Rocks, guys. Today we have a hell of a guest. We have Mr. John Hunter Nemechek.
Heck yeah. Let's go.
Oh, shit.
All right. Nemechek.
Let's go.
Coming down the line.
You ain't first, you last.
That is very true. That's very true. Second is not first.
How'd you like that movie, by the way?
I mean, I thought it was funny, to be honest with you.
Talladega.
Super
Talladega.
comical. Yeah.
Is that what inspired you?
I cracked up so,
Yeah,
I cracked up so much.
That is what inspired me
Got him in the
to
sport.
get racing. Yeah.
It inspired a lot of us.
Yeah.
Is
Street
it really?
racing?
Hey, he's like, I'm trying to do the French accent. I will not say pancakes.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. The old
But
Perrier car.
yes, I
Yeah.
am much faster than you, Ricky
They don't.
Booby.
Was that a real one?
No, there's not a real one.
There's no real Perrier.
No.
Hey, we got Skrill in the house. Skrill's our good friend here in Scottsdale, Phoenix. Everyone knows who he is.
Hell of a guy.
Hola.
There's only one Skrill. There's a lot of Mijos, but there's only one Skrill.
There's only one Skrill.
Indeed.
Hey, have you ever seen Full Skrill?
I've gone there a few times.
Should've just happened to put on.
Full Skrill.
Never go full screw. But
Yeah.
The never's crossed out. So.
Hayden doesn't know what full Skrill mean.
More people know full Skrill than more people know full Skrill than most people.
Oh man.
Whatever that
Yeah,
means.
have you got a quarter screw? You got it?
I've seen half Skrill.
Okay.
Well,
yeah. All right.
Danny's wedding. What were you?
Oh yeah, we got pretty good
you,
there.
You were half or 3/4 Skrill.
yeah, we were weddings bring it out.
Yeah, but that's
And
when you had the
everybody.
long hair, you had the top hat on, like
Oh, I
like
was rocking the
you
top
were straight
hat.
like pimping it
Oh,
out.
we were in Zion.
Yeah, we were
That's
in
right.
Zion.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
And you walked in, and I looked at Danny, and I said, "Who the fuck is that guy?"
Like 5 girls or something.
Yeah,
no.
like he was straight, like he looked like a character out of Willy Wonka, but in a good
Without
way.
a doubt, right? Going for the golden rapper.
He was. Yeah.
Yeah, the curls.
I took half a Skrill the other day, and I just ended up like in a photo shoot at like 4 a.m. in the morning.
you,
That's just a half a
for
Skrill.
your birthday?
Yeah, for my birthday.
I
Yeah,
tried calling you. Did you get my FaceTime?
I missed it. I was sorry. I was in bed by 9 p.m. on my birthday because I'm 39. I'm grown up. I'm an adult now.
That's a lie. We don't know what happened, but it'll surface.
Yeah.
It was a few days before that.
You're gonna
he was
hear.
tired out.
You're all gonna hear a few things.
Yeah.
All right, we got Hayden over here. Hayden, where are you from?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Hayden is John's spotter. For those of you that don't know what a spotter is, I just learned he's kind of like I was in the Army infantry, so we have a spotter. Our snipers do. So like he's racing and Hayden's there paying attention to what's going on around him. I guess did I explain it right?
Yeah. Basically, his eyes and ears. So he can see very little from where he's sitting. So it's basically my job just to paint the picture of what's going on around him and help him make decisions.
Pretty much, I gotta have 100% trust in what he's saying.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
Well, do you
like,
guys so
he's-
you paint the picture and then are you sitting there having a discussion about strategy while you're painting the picture around him?
Not a whole lot of talking back from him. I basically give everything to him. I watch how he responds to it, and that's his answer to me. Basically, I can see with the way he reacts to the information I'm giving him is basically his response to me. So, like my main role, the main role of any spotter is to keep the car out of trouble. So if there's crashes, to help through that. But beyond that, it's keeping him calm or any driver calm because it gets really intense in moments, and sometimes drivers get in the moment. So it's the spotter's job to kind of keep them calm, but also seeing tendencies that's going on the racetrack and just letting him know the things that he can't see to help him perform the best he can.
He's like Picasso with words.
I would. Yeah, you got to really paint a picture.
Yeah.
You should be a book writer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'd assume
Be like just over the horizon.
split seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2
Split
weeks ago when we were in Atlanta, that's the most intense. And if you listen to the audio
That's
there,
P10?
That was
That was
P10.
P10.
Yeah,
The,
P10.
What's that mean,
That
Peter?
means position 10.
finished 10th.
I finished 10th.
And how
Oh,
many
okay.
started?
40.
Wow.
Yeah, so not terrible. Not terrible at all.
Fuck.
Is there always 40?
Killer.
Yeah.
That's
yep.
so the race
So-
here in Phoenix.
So it's capped at 40. So there can be more than 40 cars, but the top 40 qualify for the race. So let's say you're not in that top 40, you're going home. You ain't racing.
Well, how do you qualify? You got to win a few races or come in.
No, you qualify like a time trial.
Got
Like,
it.
Yep.
For each
So
race.
when are you
For
qualifying?
each race.
Each
but
race has qualifiers.
but the way that the Cup Series works is like there's 36 charters out of the 40 cars. So those charters are guaranteed a spot. So each team owns one of those charters, right? So like with our 42 car, it's a chartered car, so we really can't miss the race, right? We're guaranteed a spot every Sunday, no matter where we qualify. But for instance, our team owner, Jimmy Johnson, who owns Legacy Motor Club, he ended up qualifying for the Daytona 500, which is our biggest race of the year. It's like the Super Bowl, right? So he was not locked in, so he had to qualify in on time, which that's super stressful.
And this was for the other number? Because you got 42 and then
42, 43 are locked in, so that's myself and Eric Jones.
Okay.
And then the 84 is the one that Jimmy runs every once in
and
a
they
while.
got to qualify in order to get on.
Yes.
Makes
Yep.
sense.
Yep.
It's actually really. Do you know the levels of it too? You want to explain?
Yeah.
Xfinity series.
So there's 3 top series in NASCAR. So the Cup Series is the top level, elite, right? So like in baseball, single A, and then Xfinity would be like double A, and then trucks would be like triple A. So those are kind of the feeder series to get to the Cup Series.
Yep.
So pretty much anyone that makes it to the Cup Series has gone through those and has been successful in those.
And some of those races you'll do both Xfinity and Cup.
Yeah,
So you're racing back-to-back days.
I've run quite a bit over the past couple of years. I run in double duty.
Throughout the year, you race in all the series?
I have in the past, yes.
Okay.
But I'm full-time in the Cup Series now.
So Cup Series is like PGA.
It's the big boy.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the big
Nice.
boy.
Think about
Yeah,
Majors. Got it.
So this is a family business, right?
it is.
Basically?
Yeah.
Your dad, Joe?
Yeah, so I'm second generation driver.
Awesome.
So I grew up in it. Hayden's second generation as well, which is really, really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so his dad spots for Christopher Bell every weekend, and now Hayden's spotting for me. So
Amazing.
it's pretty unique in that way, but it's a family sport, right? We travel with each other 38 weekends a year.
Awesome.
38 out of 39 weeks, I guess, for our season, right?
That's great.
It's we're a traveling circus, but it's one big family, that is for sure.
How was it, life
Yeah.
on the road as a kid and stuff like that?
It was really, really cool. The first time I went to the racetrack, I was 2 weeks old.
Wow.
And grew up underneath guys that like Dale Sr., Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch. Like
Hell yeah.
seeing those guys at such a young age, like I wasn't really starstruck in that moment because I didn't know any different,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
those were the guys that I was around in the garage and backstage at driver intros and whatnot. And but it was really cool to be able to travel around with my dad and really get to understand the sport from a different vantage point, right? Like,
Oh, for sure.
I thought that being able to do that has helped me quite a bit. It sped up my learning curve, and from, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years old, I've been sitting on the pit box with a headset on and listening and
Know all the tips and tricks by that time.
yeah. So I learned a lot of things that take a lot of guys probably 15, 20 years to learn in a matter of a few years, right?
Yeah.
So it all has helped.
And how old are you now?
I'm 27.
27, yeah, young guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
Young.
yeah.
Compared to Skrills over here, I'm way young.
What's this guy, 60?
Just kidding.
That's funny.
Hair looks great.
Just have Annie tell you you're good.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
my elephant brain.
Yeah.
Went to dinner with Steele last night, and I'm trying to tell stories, and I'm like, oh, where's Aunt? She'd remember the rest of that. I'm like, stuck without her. Love
That's
you, babe.
funny. That's funny.
I remember
Love
when
you, Annie.
you first introduced, when you first tell me about her, you're like, oh, I got this girl. You showed me your Instagram. You remember that?
Oh,
I was like, oh,
boy.
hell yeah.
What year was that?
God, I don't
2016,
know.
17,
Yeah,
something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. It's been like 6 or 7 years.
Dang.
You guys are engaged now, right?
We are, yes, and we'll stay that way for a while. So don't ask if we're setting up a wedding.
Okay, yeah, because I haven't
Yeah.
got my invite. Yet.
No, I got shit to do first.
Yeah,
then we'll
I didn't get
married.
my invite either.
Don't worry.
You're on the road. You're gonna miss her.
I probably will.
Hayden, I had a question back to spotters. Is this a new thing? Like, what century, what decade did we start spotting? We didn't always have cameras and stuff.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time. So my dad, for example, before he was a spotter, he was a driver. He raced against his dad. But he started spotting in early 2000s, and they've been around, I don't know when
Probably
they started.
90s,
Yeah,
right?
I'd say early
Late
90s
80s?
if I had to guess.
Early 90s?
But the role of the spotters changed a lot. So before it was, in the early 2000s, it was literally just inside, outside, clear, crashing. That's it. Well, now, it's evolved just like everything else. All the information gets, bigger and better, and I'm the one that has to communicate to him. So all the information that's going on the pit box gets communicated to me in one side of my headset, and then I have to relay that back to him. So, yeah, to answer your question, I don't know exactly, but it's been around for a while.
It's a lot of analytics too. If you like when you are in that pit box and you're watching these guys read all the different, I mean, it's insane.
A lot of moving parts.
It's like mind blowing.
Have you guys ever gotten in a fight over the mic?
No,
Not yet.
Not
not yet. Not yet.
God damn it!
There's no time for that.
There's times where I've been frustrated on the radio with spotters in the past and have said words that I probably regret later.
Yeah.
But
part of it.
we all know it's competition.
Yeah.
Is
We're-
that the
we're
same
competing.
where I can tap in? You know, there's that NASCAR feature where I can hear what's being said.
Yeah. So that's
What's that called again?
So that's like the NASCAR scanner app.
Okay,
Right?
this is really cool. Drum, are you familiar with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you'll hear Hayden talking to me pretty much the entire race. Yeah.
So if it got ugly, we'd hear it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's not
Yeah, keep it
uncommon.
professional.
It's not censored
uncommon,
either.
But
Yeah.
no, it's not.
Not
But it's
censored.
It's not
live
censored.
time.
Yeah, it's live.
I guess they could
Yeah.
put it back 10 seconds
Yeah.
if they want.
No, it's live.
live.
Yep.
we're all very competitive and realize that when things are said on the radio, you gotta just let them stay there, right? Like you can't take it personal. It's competition. So heat of the moment.
Rank our track here in Phoenix.
Top 10 on my list.
Okay, cool. What's number one on your list? Is it the same for every?
No, everyone is different.
What creates your ranking?
Yeah.
How I've performed there in the past.
Okay.
Right?
So based on your positioning?
Like as far as like fun and cool places we go to, Bristol in Tennessee, it's a half-mile, super high bank concrete racetrack. We run like 14-second lap times around it.
Oh, wow.
You're
So you're
getting
just
after
whipping.
it.
You're just
Like
mowing.
it
And you're
is
in the
fun.
air because of the bank. Is that what you're saying?
Like you're not in the air, right? But you are like compressing hard into the
What
corner.
degree does that bank get to?
What
I don't know
is
off the top of my
Bristol?
head.
You
It's a
know?
lot.
Colby, do you know what Bristol banking
We were
is?
guesstimating.
Working on it.
33 degrees, maybe more than that. So Colby's my PR guy. So he does all of my
I was gonna say Colby's like
communication.
Jamie from.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the Google guy.
So 25 degrees.
Colby, can you Google that, please?
25 degrees?
Yeah,
That's
25
a lot, man.
degrees. Yeah, so it's steep.
25?
25 degrees.
Like
Okay.
walking up that thing is super steep.
Out of 360 degrees, though, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
That's-
I mean, you're not flipping over. So
But you're going 200 miles an hour.
there we're probably going 140, 150, like
Okay,
top speed.
crazy.
But your center of the corner speed is only like 5 miles an hour slower than your straightaway speed. So like, let's say your top speed on the straightaway is 145, you're 140 miles per hour through the center of the corner. So like, you aren't really slowing down, right?
Centripetal force probably.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you
your
feel that.
your
Oh, a lot
G
of
forces.
G-forces, yeah.
It's 4 or 5 G's every time you get in
Oh,
the
yeah.
corner. Like you're sinking down. Like if you look at your eye line compared to the headrest where
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
sitting, like you'll move probably a half inch
Oh,
of
wow.
squish.
I feel like it's always the classic question: how do you pee? You got to pee. Someone's got to use the restroom.
Never had that question.
Dude, like so.
No.
No,
so-
that's great.
So you were in the Army, right?
Right.
So if you were on a long trek and like, or were you a sniper or what were you?
I was a machine gunner.
Okay, so
So you just kind of pee while you're walking.
yeah,
And then
yeah. So it's same
if you're
thing in the
laying
race
down,
car.
just kinda lean to
Like
the side.
like you just pee, like
Nope.
you just pee yourself.
All right.
I thought it
Yeah.
was gonna be like the Mountain Dew bottle.
I don't suggest going number 2. I would only suggest going
they
number 1.
haven't put like an astronaut tube in there.
Some guys have run like a
Catheters?
like a catheter
Oh,
almost.
okay. But you know, like in NASA, they always have that thing, like a pipe
Yeah,
familiar with
no,
attaches to
Haven't been
something.
to space yet.
yeah. So
interior guy would appreciate that a little
yeah,
more. I think.
he would.
It
So,
would add too much weight.
yeah, it would. So I just got to let my guys know that I peed afterwards, and we'll get it cleaned up. my
question.
liner.
You gotta do
what you gotta do to
That's
win.
your answer that I was looking
Thanks.
for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let it go, man.
Out of 3 races, I've only done it once this year, so we're
He's
good.
spotter. He sees
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I spot a PB.
sees it dripping. Yeah. Hey, we're leaking something here. Man.
Cool. So, what do you think of Arizona? When I saw you out here not long ago.
Yeah. What are we doing since the hockey team's gone?
Yeah, it's gone. We went to a hockey game and they don't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
We went to
Crazy.
Coyotes. Now they're gone.
Yeah. I really enjoy coming out here. Scottsdale especially. There's not much going on near the racetrack, and I guess that's Avondale.
Yeah,
Phoenix
there's nothing
area.
going on near the racetrack.
So
We,
being able to come out here and like enjoy Scottsdale. Normally the family comes out with me, so I have 2 little girls. Wife comes out. Normally some of our family comes out. We get an Airbnb, and the fall race, it's the championship weekend. So in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, we've been racing for a championship every time I've been in those series coming out here. And we normally would get an Airbnb here in Scottsdale and hang out and kind of make a week out of it. A little mini vacay.
Sorry about the rain,
and
man.
Get ready. So I was in LA yesterday expecting like decent weather, and it was raining and cold there too.
Yeah,
Like,
it doesn't happen often, especially
Oh,
because we
really?
got
This whole week.
we have
Yeah.
spring training going on, so it kind of messes with that a lot too.
yeah,
We have 15 major league teams here in town right now.
that's wild.
And
That's cool.
so the town's buzzing, and then
Is that how
now
many
we
have 15?
well, there's 30 teams, and we get half of them. The other half are in Florida. What is it, Tropic League or whatever?
Come on, Skrills, you're supposed to know this stuff.
I mean, that's why I got Joel. I lean on Joel for a lot more than you know. Especially
Joel knows
since
all
I
these
cut my
random
hair.
facts.
Yeah.
I went out to Old Town, and normally, you know,
I know, I didn't
can't stop
recognize you
shaking
there for a
hands and
minute.
kissing babies. I'm tapping shoulders, and people are like, "Who is this
Who
motherfucker?"
are you?
Joel saw it, and he's like, "All right, Skrill, me and you were just jumping by ourselves."
The best is when me and Skrill go out together.
Yeah,
It's
the
good.
best
Oh,
in the
boy.
It
world.
happens once every 5 years.
Is
It
that
does.
like full double Skrill?
It can
It's
get
a
there.
double stuffed Oreo for
See
sure.
them
It's delicious.
tackling each
No
other.
babysitters anywhere nearby.
That's scary.
We
That
did
is
it though. We
scary.
did it recently, and we just had a blast. And so I go in the front. We both walk in the front door, and then someone would be coming at me and him at the same time. So I would just go straight out the back door. He'd go out the front,
Yeah.
We
split up,
around,
meet in the
go
middle,
back around the back.
and I'm like, oh, we did it.
You
We
know,
got
we
it.
know the maneuvering at this
Yeah.
point.
Cool.
Season's vets.
So I think one of the best stories about Full Skrill is one of our buddies, Danny, was telling me a story
You guys
one
met Danny
time.
Evans before?
I don't think so.
No? You've met him with Kels and when
Yeah.
Checks were out here for the
Okay, then I met him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
So
He was out here.
he's-
Skrill has a lot of friends.
So he said one night he was with Skrills, and they started out, and he was like half Skrill, 3/4 Skrill. Skrill was half Skrill, 3/4 Skrill, and he wanted to continue to go out, and Danny was like, no, like I'm not doing it. And Skrill was sitting there trying to peer pressure him. Finally, I think he went out for a little bit, and Skrill's got full Skrill, and Danny was like, peace out, I'm gone. Like I cannot be here anymore.
No.
Well, we're trying to keep it. We're trying to keep it
There was
PG.
another one when
So.
we just, I didn't even know he was in town. He didn't even tell me. And you know when a close friend comes in town, doesn't tell you, like,
Yeah,
But I
you're-
get it.
you're
We're,
like,
we're
what
all
the
so
heck?
busy, especially that group. Like, I'm not a bitch. Anyways, because you got some friends that are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're like, bro, I'm in town
little
for
busy,
24
bro.
hours.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to check in with you
Yeah.
before I landed. And so it was Old Town. I'm just getting out of a black car with Annie and a pile of people. Danny's walking like from where Shots Fired is now, the one you just built.
Chickadees.
And Chickadees, shout out for you. And then he's walking towards the W, and I got out right there, and I'm like, Danny? I'm like, let's go, you coming with? I tried to get him, he's like, fuck you. I'm like, did a little
Running around.
decaf spin off and just went straight for the W.
That's funny.
Yeah, he knew better.
Have you ever been out to Scottsdale much, Hayden?
Mostly just for the races.
Okay.
I love it out here.
Your wife and kids as well?
Yeah.
All
I've
right,
got a
yeah.
wife,
It's not
2
like
boys.
super wife and kids spots
Yeah,
where me and
no.
Skrill go. We don't have a wife or kids.
I mean, I'm sure.
What is it called? We have the Great Wolf Lodge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great move.
Yeah.
David
That's
Don't ever go
yeah.
there, man. Took my nephews there once. Middle America like a motherfucker.
I saw this pregnant woman smoking a cigarette at the Great Wolf Lodge. I
That's-
felt like I was
that's
at a
not-
NASCAR
That's
race.
not a, oh my God! Half the people from there.
It's a
probably
water
watch
park
the
hotel is what it
races.
is.
That's funny.
That's good
Bro,
stuff. What time does the race start this Sunday?
12:30.
12:30.
Yeah.
East Coast
No.
time?
No,
No, 12:30 this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
don't miss them.
Yeah.
They got to get out of church on the East Coast before the race starts.
What's
Yes.
the forecast look like?
Should be sunny.
I think we're in good shape.
Yeah,
Rest of the
I think
weekend.
so. It's
Today's the
supposed to
only
be
bad
like
day.
70 to 80 degrees on
Yeah.
Sunday from what I
That's gonna
saw.
be nice.
So,
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
If the
should be
track
good.
is wet, will you race?
yes, we have wet weather tires. We have rain tires.
Sick.
If
So
it
what?
gets
They're
too
just
wet,
like
you
they
gotta
got.
just-
Just groove.
Yeah,
Instead of
it's-
slick.
yeah.
Okay.
If it is too
Oh,
wet,
that's right. The slicks and okay.
if it is too wet, they won't run.
So you're ready for
Um,
that. You brought your tires.
I love it when it's raining. Like I don't know why, but do you know who Arrington Senna is?
I don't.
He's like big F1 guy from back in the 80s, 90s, right? like legend. He was probably going to be the best one ever. And when it rained, he turned something on, and he was like super
on.
good.
Yeah. Gave him
Yeah,
some
yeah.
extra juice.
That was
Yeah.
his thing.
That was his thing. I love
All
that
right,
rain.
so you love
I
that.
love the wet.
So do you think if it rained, you'd have a better chance of winning?
I don't know, to be honest with you. So our team kind of restructured over the off season. So we had a lot of personnel in place. This is my second year with Legacy Motor Club, our team. Had a new investment group come in. Jimmy Johnson went from kind of minority owner to majority owner. So now he's calling the shots.
I've been hearing his name since I was a little kid.
Yeah, like legend.
One of the greatest
Like,
of all time.
yeah, and super humble dude. Like, you would never know that he's a 7-time champion and has won as many races as he has. And he's been great to work for so far. He's been a huge advocate for me and a great mentor for me, and being able to ask questions and ask advice and things of that sort, and things that he's been through in the past that he went through like early on in his career, and how he overcame that mentally and things of that sort. So with all of that, we have a lot of personnel changes. We have a new competition director, new technical director, new, I guess, engineering director. We have new guys that are working on the simulators for us. Pretty much everyone is new. So everyone on my 42 team, so there's 7 people that travel to the racetrack every weekend, seven or 8 people. Everyone except for Colby, my PR guy, and one mechanic is new to me. So crew chief, engineers, mechanics, truck drivers, everyone is new to me. So it's pretty wild that it's kind of starting fresh again. But we didn't have the year that we wanted last year. We had kind of up and downs. Like we had some really good runs and some not so great runs. So this year is more about consistency and a lot of personnel changes, like I said, but a lot of processes, procedures put in place with this car. This car is very unique. It's independent rear suspension, sequential shifting, and everyone has the same cars, right? So like if you're going to go out and let's say you're going to go buy 10 Toyota Supras, the bare bones of those cars are all the same. They come from one manufacturer, right? And then it's how you put those pieces on those cars, and how well you can put that puzzle together to create more speed out of them. So the field is super tight when it comes to speed. Like the difference a few weeks ago, I think was like 0.3 from first to last, as far as timing wise goes. So
are you involved in the entire process of it, kind of getting the car to where it needs to be for the race, or?
I was when I was younger. So I started out in the truck series in NASCAR, working for or driving for my family-owned team. My dad owned it, and I was the engineer. I was one of the guys that I installed my seats. Like I was just one of the guys at the shop every day working. And as I've kind of moved on from that to other teams, my sole job and what I get paid for is to drive. So my sole focus is studying data, looking at film, being as prepared as I can be as a driver every single weekend. So there's a really good group around us, right? And like for me, I always like to learn about the vehicles so I can communicate and talk to my crew chief and engineers and stuff. But as far as the process and whatnot, no, I'm not involved in that.
So what's your typical day? Like you said, you mentioned simulators and things like that. Is it like persistently driving, practicing? Like what are you doing?
So my days fluctuate, right? So like we'll start on Monday. We normally have I got to do my post-race debrief, kind of fill out my form and go through the previous weekend, Monday morning. And then Monday afternoon, we have a 42 group meeting solely with our engineers, crew chief, spotter, myself, kind of going through the weekend. Everyone's speaking up on things that could have been different or things that we saw where we lack speed or where we feel like we could get better. Nice. And then after that, we break off into like a big competition debrief. So it's all of the powers that be, all the higher ups. Myself, teammate Eric Jones, our 2 crew chiefs, and then like the head of each department, right? So we pretty much go through the sheet that we filled out, have comments, concerns, questions, kind of get a discussion forming. And then Tuesday mornings are normally my sim time. So I'll go to sim for 3.5, 4 hours, go sit in the simulator, run the post race of what we ran the previous weekend, depending on what racetrack we were at, and then do my pre-event for wherever we're going the following week. And then Wednesdays are normally like my study days. So I'm kind of honed in on watching film, looking at data, filling out some sheets that I have to be able to kind of like ask myself questions and get implemented a little bit more. And then training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and sometimes Friday. And then Thursdays are kind of like my family day where I get to hang out, or if Hayden and I go get lunch or we chat or whatever it may be. But kind of just relaxed day, and then normally leaving Friday mornings to fly out and then get to the new track. Normally tech days are Friday, practice qualify Saturday, race Sunday, and then fly home directly after the race. So it's a full week.
It's not for the faint of heart. And you do that for 36 weeks a year?
38. So our season, the first chunk is 10 races in 11 weeks. And then we have Easter weekend off this year. And then we go 28 weeks straight to the end of the year.
Wow.
It's no joke.
February to November, basically.
And it's got to be pretty taxing in those vehicles.
It is, for sure.
Especially depending the elements.
So, like last weekend at COTA, right? My average heart rate was 162 in the car for 3.5 hours.
That's resting.
Miho, what should it be?
And
that's pretty high.
Yeah, yeah. So 162 average.
Yeah, where should we be?
My max was
like 100.
Yeah, yeah.
160 is like you're working out hard. You're like sprinting.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, because
yeah. So my max was like 194 or something like that. But it's a 3.5-4 hour duration, right? So. It's hot inside the race car. Last weekend was a road course.
Feel all the heat from the
engine?
Yeah.
So like when we race here, we used to race here kind of in the summer months, and it was like 140, 145 degrees inside the race car, right? So it's like you're sitting in a dry sauna. And
you've got your tracksuit on.
Is there air, anything in there or no?
Yeah, so we run like a hose to our helmet with a little, like they call it an AC blower or whatnot, but it only cools the ambient temp like 10 degrees. So if it's 100 degrees out, you're getting 90-degree air blowing on you, right? So it's not really AC.
So you're just sweating in there.
Oh yeah, like you're losing water fast, right?
They lose a lot of weight.
I can imagine. You could lose 5 pounds in a race.
Yeah, it's wild.
You probably have to hydrate like crazy.
You do. Hydration, nutrition, the recovery aspect of it is really big. But like last weekend was almost 4,000 calories in 3.5 hour race. So yeah,
I thought
it's
you
wild.
just been working out. I walked in.
I mean, a little bit. Definitely during the winter months, like I'll bulk up like strength wise, and then through the summer months and whatnot, like it's full cardio. Yeah. It's same. It's like being an endurance athlete, right? Like there's such things called like race shape and things of that sort where your body gets acclimated to it and whatnot. But everything that we do is endurance based for sure.
Can imagine.
You mentioned that you like Bristol because of the way the track was. Do you have any meets you go to that you look forward to because of the fans?
Yeah, pretty much everywhere.
You got to say that, but I mean, like
NASCAR's
there's got to be different fans. Like if you're walking in Phoenix, I feel like you'd be more likely you would get recognized in an East Coast state rather than.
Yeah, you would be surprised.
Really?
Yeah, you would be surprised.
Those Surprises right over there by
get wild
Avondale.
for these events.
Yeah.
I have a friend from Surprise that loves NASCAR.
Really?
And she found out today that you were coming. That I was like, I have this NASCAR guy. She goes, I live in Surprise. And I go, what does that mean? She goes, we're right next to Avondale. She's like, that's where the track's at. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, wait till my dad sees your podcast. He's gonna lose his mind. I was like, all right.
That's cool.
Cool. Like the energy's got to be different at some of these tracks.
Yeah, it is. Everywhere we go has like its own unique energy, right?
Okay.
So
that's the answer I was looking for.
Yeah. Talladega is. You want to talk about full skrill? Talladega is full skrill party infield.
That's Indianapolis.
No, that's in Alabama.
Alabama.
Oh
okay.
yeah, it gets rowdy.
What time of year?
There's one coming up in a few weeks, and then there's one in the fall as well.
You'll see me there.
Yeah, Skrill will be there.
That would be the place
Skrill will be there. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, he would have fun there for sure. And then like Daytona 500 weekend, like we kick off our year with the biggest race of the year, right? Like it is massive.
Yep.
The energy, the fan base, like there are so many people there. The president was there this year as well.
that.
Like there's so many cool things that Daytona does, like behind the scenes and whatnot, and promotes the race. And like I don't even know how to describe it. Like being my first Daytona 500, I got told before I got there, just make sure that you soak it in, like enjoy the moment.
Yep.
And really, I didn't know what that meant, right? Like you think about that and it's like, okay, like I think I'm enjoying the moment. I think that like I am kind of grasping all this, and then you go race, right? Well, afterwards, when you go back for the second time and the third time doing it, it's like, man, like I didn't really know what this meant.
It's
like
a show,
this is
man.
insane. Like it's wild. I will say another really cool weekend, fan-wise, just whole weekend-wise, is the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. It's Memorial Day weekend. Support of the troops are there. You have Blackhawks flying in, fast roping off of them, like all kinds of stuff going on. And to be able to honor and remember those is amazing as well. We run banner across our windshield with fallen soldiers' names, and their families are able to come out to the race, and we host them, and being able to recognize all of those who have served. And that weekend is so amazing. Like the energy, the vibe, the people that are there, the pre-race show, everything. Like it's amazing.
And that's a home race
For us.
So all the teams
Oh,
are from there
that's
too.
great.
So
Oh,
a
most
lot
of
of
the
the
teams are
mechanics,
all
families
family
go.
cars.
It's a different vibe there.
Yeah, that's a different fan
Yeah.
when it's your family.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
like
that's
everyone's families are there.
What about overseas? Anything?
So
You
we
going to Saudi Arabia? They offer you a contract?
No Saudis.
Yeah. What other
Yeah,
countries is
Saudis.
NASCAR in?
So we're going to Mexico this year.
Okay, cool.
So we used to go to Canada. They've run an exhibition race over in Japan. I'm not really sure where else.
Hey,
They
have you
used go
been to
Mexico.
Japan to race?
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
No, I was
What
too
about
young.
Mexico?
That was in the
You're
90s.
going to drive your car across the border, or are you going to fly it?
They will drive across the border in the transporters. Yeah.
I was wondering about how that border stuff goes.
Yeah.
I just guess logistically it'd be tough to do a lot of these races overseas.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely would. And I think for us in a NASCAR fan base, like I feel like it would be cool to go and do something like that. Like normally a lot of people will ask like, where's a place that you would go if you could pick anywhere, right? And a lot of drivers say overseas. Like there's some really cool racetracks over there. Monaco would be amazing.
That'd be cool.
For our cars, it would be tough because it's so tight.
Yeah.
But that would be a really unique experience. Like that is on my bucket list to go attend the Monaco Grand Prix F1 race there.
I just missed it 2 different times.
Dang.
And like a week before and a week after.
Yeah. But we're racing that weekend, so I got to do it after I retire.
Yeah. We got a long time.
We got quite a few years.
So about your kids, any race car names? Did you give them any names?
No.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
No.
Jr.
Aspen and Penelope.
Aspen, if not, sorry.
Yep,
Are they
Aspen.
racing yet?
Penelope is driving. She has little Power Wheels that she drives around. A little Toyota Tundra.
Is that
She
how you
rips.
eased into it?
Yeah, I got my first go-kart at 3.
Okay.
She's 3 right now, and
All right.
she's been asking for one, so we'll see where that goes.
Can you give them lessons? Is that a thing? Is there people that do lessons for kids that young?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a busy guy.
I mean, it's in her blood.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like when I went to do the driver's ed test, right? Like I had to go take driver's ed to get my license and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, I feel like I should be telling you how to drive rather than you telling me how to drive.
This here's called a stale green.
Yeah.
So your
It's
daughter's doing like the
wild.
lawnmower around the yard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's neat. She loves the off-roading side
Really?
right now.
Nice.
So,
They go to a lot of races, right?
yeah, they go to probably 18 to 20 races, at least half. So,
Hey, I've seen them up on the podium with you, or
Yeah.
on the top of the car.
yeah, Victory Lane has been good for them.
Yeah.
Hayden, any NASCAR names for your children?
No NASCAR names. I'm
Stops here.
I've got 2 boys, and I'm doing as hard as I can to keep them away from it.
Okay.
He's trying to
really?
buy
You
sets of golf clubs.
Yeah, I want
Oh,
them
you
playing
don't want
golf.
them to
Oh,
follow
good
in
stuff.
the footsteps.
Yeah.
No, I grew up driving too, and man, it's a lot.
Is it a tough life more than a rough life? What is it that scares you?
It's a large financial commitment.
It's
yeah.
expensive.
It's a tough,
Very
yeah.
expensive.
It's expensive.
It's one of the more expensive sports there are.
100%.
Is there a limit on
Auto racing and the equestrian world are the
So-
2 most expensive things that
It
you
says
can
it
get
all
into.
right there. It's nonstop travel.
Oh my God, equestrian. What does a car cost?
Ooh.
Start with a simulator.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to say our cup cars, like all in all, they're probably $500K at least, all in, somewhere around there. I don't know.
So the simulators are more than the cars? Or am I mistaken there?
You don't crash the simulator.
It depends, like the technology and whatnot. It's hard to put a value on the technology and development that goes into the simulation side.
That took to get it there.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Like these sims started developing 15 years ago, right? And they just continue to evolve.
Yeah,
it's a massive part of the sport now.
Yeah,
like it's such a huge tool because they don't allow testing anymore for the most part. Very little. It used to be back in the day they would go race on the weekends, and then a lot of the weeks during the year they were some racetrack in the country testing. Well, now they've, to save teams money, kind of backed off on that, and so simulator is like it's really the only on-track stuff you get. So it's
interesting.
So like when we show up to the racetrack, we get 20 minutes of practice, a 5-minute break, straight into qualifying, and then you go race Sunday, and you can't change anything on the vehicle. So like what you show up with is what you're locked in with.
There's no last minute tweaks.
Like there's some small tweaks that you can do, but as far as changing shocks, springs, all of that stuff, like the big components, you run what you brung.
And you guys have already created what you wanted based on the weather, based on the track, based off simulation, yes.
All of the stuff
okay.
So the simulator is so important when it comes to that, because if you show up and you're off, like you're going to be off for the whole weekend. Right. Yeah. So like,
and those minute differences make the difference.
Yeah.
I mean,
like it's
tenths of seconds.
Yes. And with the field being 3-4 tenths apart from first to last, like it's tiny
the margin
margins.
For error is,
yes.
There isn't
it's tiny. Yeah.
Is there a percentage throughout the year, would you say that you lose some races due to not being prepared, or is it usually just due to just losing to the?
A lot of it is about car potential now. So I wouldn't say that, I guess, not being prepared. Like
you know what you were saying, you missed one little detail.
Yeah, so like we come with our best guesstimate of what we need to go fast that weekend, right? Based on simulation, based on old notes, everything else. Like there's a history of that, right? Well, this car was introduced in 2022, so it's completely different than what they were running for the last 10 years. So the notebook is continuing to evolve as this car progresses through the years, and it being year 4, I guess now technically, of guys driving it. Like it's unique in its own way. And this car drives more like your street car than it does a race car from what we've driven in the past. So it's been an adaptation for guys to be able to learn how to drive this car and to learn where that limit is, to not step over that edge and spin out or wreck or whatever it may be. So the setups continue to evolve over the years, but a lot of it is all derived off simulation and feel. So let's say your simulation tool is off just a little bit. Like when you show up to the racetrack, you're probably going to be off that little bit, right? So it's tough. It's unique in its own way. A lot of engineering, a lot of technology, and it's crazy how far the sport has come on the engineering side over just the last 5 years.
A good example. So like last week we were in Austin, Texas. It was a road course. All of the teams across the board, they repaved the racetrack. So everyone was kind of guessing on how much grip the track would have. And when we got there, we had a little bit of a longer practice because of it, and it was a new course from years past. And when you watching practice, all of the cars across the entire field were struggling with just less grip than anticipated. So, and that's, again, when you're guessing on what the simulation is going to be, you're guessing on grip level.
One more variable.
Yeah, if you guess wrong when you get to the racetrack, it's tough. And like I said, last week was just because it's fresh, it was a good example of you watched everyone was surprised at how little grip it had. And it was interesting to see what teams were able to, dive in and overcome it.
Yep. What's in the garage, John? What do you drive at home?
Toyota vehicles.
Okay.
Toyota Tundra. We have a Toyota Sequoia.
What do those get? 150?
I don't know. I've never tried.
What's the fastest car you've driven?
I have a Toyota Supra. That thing's fun.
Okay.
That thing's a little spunky. Yeah. When the kids aren't with me, it's a 24. they just came back out with a 6-speed manual transmission. So it's fun. I love driving that thing. It's my little like daily driver when I have to go to the simulator or up to the shop, or I'm just running around.
No speeding
town.
tickets?
No speeding tickets.
That'd be embarrassing.
It would be.
Got it.
Yeah. How many speeding tickets have you had?
0. I'm a slow driver. I drive like a grandma.
Not
Everyone
you.
hates
Is
it.
that truthful? 0 speeding tickets?
What about Skrills over
Yeah,
here?
I always drive slow.
Oh man, I've had my license suspended a couple of times.
Oh, boy.
Never, nothing.
I got pulled over by a helicopter.
What?
I was going like 130 on a freeway, and a
Here?
helicopter. Yep, in here on the 101, just passing. On the 51, passing Northern.
Yep.
I think I was up towards Glendale first, and then passing Northern. That's when they first clocked me. He just happened to be like, police helicopter was cruising and just saw me, swerving going 130 when all these other cars are going 70. Followed me all the way to where I got to my buddy's apartment, and it's nighttime.
Oh,
And all of a sudden, I go through the gate. It's on Anasazi. It's like it's in the loop. It's like Paradise Valley Mall, and all of a sudden, a spotlight is like going around, and it's kind of a ghetto area. And I'm like, oh shit, someone's getting busted. I'm like, fuck. And I'm looking out and everything. And I bend around the parking lot, but the light's still kind of coming with me. And I'm like, the fuck is going on? Are they getting my boy spot? I'm like, oh shit, they got Neil. And like I keep driving, but it's still on me. And then sure enough, like 5 cop cars come peeling in, pull me over, helicopter stayed above me. I actually got the criminal speeding ticket dropped down to just normal speeding ticket. I fought it myself based on the fact that they didn't have an A marker and a B marker. And so there was no way to fully track how fast I was going and the curvature of the freeway. Oh, I played it perfect.
Pulling the physics card on him.
Wow.
Paid the fine. That's my speeding ticket story for the day.
Cool.
I always try to get Skrill to come on the podcast. I've never
never
once.
Dude, I love
I
it.
ask him all the
I've
time.
never done a podcast in my life.
You got
This is awesome.
him good, John. You got him
Broken
good.
Sherry.
I'm glad.
No.
I'm glad Skrills is
I was
here.
going to support the Nemechek, man.
Hey, what other good stories you got?
Oh, where do we get going?
Yeah,
Hey.
seriously.
This guy will reach in the bag.
Yeah.
Like, give me
Which
a
one is he
blush.
gonna pull out here?
I know.
So
Skrills,
how do we feel
you're-
about this race, boys?
You're turning red over there, Skrills.
No, Skrill's like part of the reason we love having this podcast. We live here in Scottsdale, and we meet a lot of really cool people, and me especially. I remember one time, and me and Skrill are always out and about doing something, meeting different people, and we befriend the same people. Even when he's going, hey, I'm gonna have this guy John Nemechek. I go, oh, I already met John.
Yeah.
I was like, great.
Oh, I went to a hockey game with him. Like,
Yeah.
Yo, you go to a hockey game with him? Like, yep.
Yep.
Bet. 2:30, we'll be there.
It's crazy.
One time he brings up Machine Gun Kelly to me. He's like, hey, this is Machine Gun Kelly. He's like, I already know Joel. And I was like, hey.
That's awesome. Really?
Kels goes, I already know Joel. I fucking love Joel. And then Kels put on his new album before it was released for the whole party up there at the bowling alley.
Yeah, I used to
Yeah.
manage this bowling alley.
Really?
That's where I met everyone.
Okay.
At the time. That was Ryan's 30th birthday, I think. Or maybe it was after that.
Yeah, it was.
It was
It was
because
Sheckler's 30th.
he was drinking at the time.
It was funny, but that's part of the reason. So we get a lot of our good friends that are really, really just like us, talented to
Yeah.
come on here. So it's cool.
That's
like,
awesome.
And Skrill's talented. He's got he does a lot. He
He does a lot.
You don't wanna
Jewelry
say-
maker.
You can't do what Skrill does.
No,
You
you
just
can't. You can't.
So-
There's not another Skrills.
I don't even know.
It's just not. Cool. So how did you guys meet?
Well, we've been around each other for quite some time. We've always kind of known of each other, but really kind of kicked off our friendship from a fellow racer and a friend of ours, Christopher Bell. Christopher's been on a hot streak this year for sure, but Hayden and Christopher have been best friends for I don't know how many years.
It's been a while.
Yeah, and Hayden spotted for me last year as well as a second spotter, and now he's a primary guy.
Okay. Any good drama? I was seeing if there was any good drama on the Google.
Yeah,
And it said something about is there a race car driver named Denny Hamlin?
there is.
Okay, there was something going on there. I couldn't figure out what it was. I was trying to read it. I was like, I'll just ask him on the podcast.
He mentioned me on his podcast a couple weeks ago.
All right. Nothing bad though. No drama.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, see, I couldn't figure it out either.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I didn't listen to it. I
Okay.
got questioned about it, and
Sorry, I questioned you again.
no, you're fine. My answer from how they posed the question, I thought was okay, and I don't know. I'm here to win races, right? Like
Yeah.
like at some point I got to earn that, and I've won in everything that I've been in as far as late models growing up, the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and really haven't had that shot to win Cup races yet, and we're trying to get there. So we're competing.
What, 2 years with the new team?
To the second year with the new team,
Brand new year with a whole new squad for 42.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of adjustments.
There's a lot
and
of
you're still hitting
adjustments.
P5s and P10s.
Yeah, we're solid.
It's coming, boys.
Some of these teams are pretty old. They've been together a while. Is this very common to being very fluid?
So not this fluid, I would say. This is a newer team. They had a manufacturer swap from Chevy to Toyota last year. So first year under the Toyota banner at Legacy Motor Club. So there was a lot that went on there. A lot of these teams have been around for years and years. I mean, Hendrick Motorsports, Penske, Richard Childress Racing, like they've been around from the start, and they just continue to grow, right? So for us, it's a newer team, a younger team for sure, only a couple years old, trying to get their feet wet, build their notebook, and it's really neat, like being able to hear Jimmy's vision, Cal Wells' vision, and where they want to take this team and how Jimmy wants to run it and be successful. He's already had his legacy as the driver, right? 7 championships, a ton of wins. Now it's we joke around, it's Legacy 2.0 for him as a team owner. So hence the word Legacy Motor Club. We're here to make our legacy.
You guys are doing a great job at it. You really are.
Appreciate it.
So it's a newer club.
Very, very new team for us. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
It's Jimmy's first team, though.
Jimmy's first team.
Does he show up to a lot of the races?
He does. He's actually here in Phoenix this weekend.
Oh, so cool. Awesome.
Here supporting us.
As a little kid, I just always remember like Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt.
Yep.
Martin.
Yeah.
But I actually did watch it a lot as a kid. I'm more into golf now than I am NASCAR. If you ask me what I watch the most,
yeah.
But I do think it's. I remember I told you last time I saw you, I was like, yeah, I love NASCAR.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
You just need to come out and enjoy that experience, and then you'll be hooked even more.
No, I might come out Sunday. My buddy just got a camper, and I was like, bro, we could go out there, and then that way afterwards, you get stuck in that driveway out there at that raceway.
Camper,
at least,
yeah.
Oh, you should see this camper my buddy Dave just got.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, we should take the camper out there, huh?
Yeah, that's what I said. Hey, it's my birthday. Let's take the camper out to the racetrack this Sunday. And he has it set up. It's a pop-out camper on your truck, but it turns out big after it pops out.
That's awesome.
And I was like, well, just park it in the parking lot. Me and Jerome went to the racetrack on New Year's Eve. We spent New Year's Eve at the racetrack. And you get trapped in there at bottlenecks.
Yeah.
So when you go to leave, you can't leave for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, at least we'll have the camper for those 4 hours.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sit there,
you might hear me out there. I'll have to bring a loud horn.
Yeah. Yell at me.
John, I saw an image. Was it the Daytona 500 where someone was fishing and watching the race, or was it like?
Oh yeah. So
is there a pond?
There's a lake.
There's a lake inside the racetrack.
The racetrack.
Yeah. It's
I think there's a racetrack with a golf course, isn't there?
Indianapolis.
Yeah, Indy. Yeah.
Classic NASCAR. Man.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
We don't have anything special inside ours, I don't think. But yeah, some of these
rattlesnakes maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, some coyotes lately.
Yeah, coyotes, rattlesnakes. Have you ever hiked the hill next to the racetrack?
No, what hill is that?
I don't know exactly what it's called.
I'm not even sure.
Rattlesnake Hill.
Yeah, Rattlesnake Hill, I guess is what they call it. But we can actually walk to the top, and you can watch the race from up there.
Oh, I saw
it's a sick vantage point.
All right.
Yeah.
From there last time.
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah.
So how big's Davison?
Davidson?
Where are you from?
I'm Mooresville, North Carolina.
Mooresville? Okay.
Yeah.
I Googled it said Davison.
Yeah, I used to live in Davidson.
Oh, okay.
So that's why. But
is that where you were born?
I was born in Mooresville.
Okay.
Yeah, it's within like 2 minutes of each other.
Okay.
Like they're bordering cities, I guess you could say, or towns.
Look at you doing your homework.
They're not even cities.
Oh yeah,
they're just
ChatGPT.
towns. Yeah,
This podcast is brought to you by ChatGPT.
that's funny. That's funny.
I was like, what are some? Oh man, ChatGPT is great for podcasts.
Yeah.
I was like, what are some punny questions I can ask? Like, hey, what's it like living your life in the fast lane? It's like, are you geared up for this podcast? Do you ever have a bad hair day, like because of the helmet? It got really deep. ChatGPT.
I do.
Oh yeah, I would say every time you wear it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's pretty bad.
It depends. Depends on how short it is. Like if I go skrill over here short, we're not having a bad hair day. But if it's long and there's no product in it, it's rough. Now the guys that have like good looking hair and like style that thing, and when they take a helmet off and it looks the exact same, it's like I want to know what those guys are using, man.
It's like Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
I bet they went to another country and got some surgery You know, it made it look better.
I'm not gonna say any names here, okay?
That's me, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
man.
Yeah.
Turkey haircut over
Hair
here.
plug, shout out.
Turkey hair plug, engagement,
And I grew a
everything,
beard.
and you grew a beard.
So, what about gambling advice? You got anything for us? Are you allowed to advise on gambling?
I'm not.
You're not even allowed to
I'm
advise
not.
on it.
Do you guys gamble on
insider
NASCAR
gambling.
though?
I don't know. I didn't know if you could.
Yeah, you
Steele
can.
did on your last
There is a
race.
thing.
Did he?
Yeah, and he did good.
Oh,
on the
heck yeah.
P10.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I'll check my app.
Or maybe it
Yeah,
was the last one.
yeah.
Up in
You
Atlanta.
can gamble on it for
All right.
sure.
Yeah, you can.
Well, I'm betting
Yeah.
on you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
no
just
pressure,
like,
right?
I'm not a big gambler. I'm not a big gambler, for the record. I'm not betting a lot. So,
Hey, that's fine.
but it's fun to have a little skin in the game, so
my
I'll be like
my
10
odds
bucks.
are pretty high in the Cup Series, so
Okay, good.
yeah.
All right.
I was trying to find some like fights on YouTube. I was like, is there any fights
NASCAR
with John?
fights?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
this guy. Because anyways, Paul Tracy's here from Scottsdale. And
Yeah.
we were gonna interview him, and he has all his YouTube is all fights. or whatever,
That's
right?
all he did was
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, I know. But yours, it was like there was like one fight video or something. It's just like a guy walking
Yeah.
past you yelling something, and then you're like,
Yeah,
All right.
there was one Cole Custer who is in the Cup Series now. Him and
Yeah.
I got into it up in Canada. We tackled each other and rolled around
Oh,
on
nice.
the ground a little bit.
Nice.
But yeah, he wasn't happy with me. He ran at me, so we were fighting for the win, and needless to say, I took home the trophy that day. And
Nice.
he came home second, so it wasn't too bad. But I guess that's the only really fight clip that I got.
yeah. There wasn't
Yeah.
much. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to scrap. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Is there like what kinds of things like what, are there things like sometimes you're like shit I made a mistake or something and they come at you after type thing or
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's times where you'll slip up and get into somebody or get in the corner too deep and bump them, and sometimes they spin out or they'll do it to you. Like, it's part of racing, right? Like, we're running,
Shit happens.
we're running a couple inches off of each other's bumpers, running 150 to 200 mile an hour. So at some point, something is going to happen with someone. Like, it's bound to. It's
160 heart rate.
Yeah.
Road rage.
Yeah.
So when you're
Yeah.
when you're going off the track or you're like bumping into another car, like what does that feel like in the moment? Is it like slow motion for you? Is it like
Well, if you know that you're going to hit the wall, you're like, oh shit, this is going to hurt.
yeah?
like you know that it's going to hurt, right?
I could imagine going that speed. Shit.
Yeah. Luckily, NASCAR, the safety features and whatnot that we have now is incredible from what we did have, right? With safer barriers, so they have a two wall system. So the back part of the wall is concrete, the front part of the wall is steel, and then they have foam blocks in between all the way around the racetrack. I don't know how many foam blocks there are, like around Daytona, 2.5 mile racetrack, but a lot. But when you hit it, that foam it absorbs the energy, right? So you're not just hitting concrete and stopping. And then to like our full containment seats. So back in the day, the seats, they were mounted to the chassis, and then the seat belts were mounted to the chassis as well, right? So like something bent, moved, like there was times where seat belts would come loose and whatnot. So now our seats, it's a full carbon fiber tub is what I would say. Our seat belts are integrated into the seat, so we're actually strapped to the seat and tight in it. And then we have a really cool process. So when we say pour a liner, right? So I have a custom fit foam that is molded around my body. So the way that we do that, it's probably the most stressful day you will ever have as a race car driver is trying to get your seat right. Yeah. But
you have to sit still in a mold.
Well, it gets poured in as a liquid. And then it has a chemical reaction and formulation.
While you're naked?
That
While you're
happens.
naked?
No, not naked.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you naked, but not me. That stuff gets hot, by the
I
way.
can imagine.
The chemical reaction gets hot.
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing a fire suit. I'm wearing what
you're
I'm
in a full
wearing
tracksuit.
in the race car.
What's the appropriate term? Not track suit.
Fire suit.
Fire suit.
Yeah, fire suit. So I'm in it, and they pour it in a bag around you, and you're sitting there in your position of how you want to sit and where you're comfortable, and you have to keep that position as the foam is kind of like trying to push you around, and then it hardens, and then they'll take that and they'll cut it with like a turkey knife is what we use to get all the
big turkey
excess off.
shaver?
Yeah, and then
Your team does all this? Your crew?
yeah, and then we'll take it's called like a red light scanner. So we'll scan the actual mold, and it'll create a 3D model of it. And then they'll take a CNC machine or a mill and start with a block of foam and mill it out of some lightweight foam for what it is compared to the heavy chemical reaction foam. And that's your liner. It gets covered, and then that's what we sit in. It's probably the most comfortable place that we have as race car drivers. Like, it's formed to your body. And like when we used to be able to test, or you're sitting there waiting on changes, like you can fall asleep pretty quick. It's a good napping spot.
Snug too.
Yeah, it is. I have
sorry about him.
That question of me farting
Someone
during
from
a
the
molding
audience
process.
asked if
I haven't, but I'm
a
sure
bubble in the
somebody
mold.
has. Yeah.
Couple of bubbles.
Yeah.
Trickling up.
Is
That's
there
funny.
is there any difference in terms of racing for you, like trucks versus the cars, or?
Yeah, there's a lot
Quite a
of
bit.
differences. So I guess you guys have driven a truck down the street, right?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
on a highway. Like trying to push that through the air compared to like
Yeah, a
a
lot more
sports
lift.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So way more drag. The racing is completely different, right? The truck series, even compared to the Xfinity series, the racing is way different. You have
Yeah.
younger guys in the truck series, not as much experience. And then you go into the Xfinity series, you have some more experience. So that's like a probably 2 to 3 times step up, right?
Yeah.
And then Xfinity to Cup, I would say, is probably like a 5 to 10 times step up of competitiveness. I mean, the guys in the Cup Series, right? There's 40 guys that race every single weekend in the Cup Series, and they're probably 40 of the best guys that are in those seats. So everything matters. Pit road speed. So imagine trying to hold lights on a dash, right? Like lights. So we'll run 3 red lights this weekend. The lights are set at 0.3 to 0.4 of a mile an hour. So we don't have a speedometer, right? So we go off RPM. So when you're going down pit road, if we set our tack or our lights for 3 red to be 50 miles an hour. So if you go over those 3 lights, you're speeding.
Yeah.
If you go under those 3 lights, you're slow.
Your RPMs are lights.
Yes. So you want to be as close as you can to holding those 3 reds steady and as close as you can to 50 miles an hour. And a couple tenths off on that pit road speed is worth spots. Like it's
Yeah.
worth 2 to 3 spots
Oh yeah.
every couple tenths. So like it's down to the nitty gritty, like the fine details and executing those at a super high level. Like you have to be able to do that.
Just flexed the whole time, like controlling that.
You are concentrated and focused the entire time.
For hours. What is it? 2.5, 3 hours?
3.5 normally.
3.5 hours.
It's probably just body memory at this point for you, right?
At times, yes. But
You're like, this is exactly 55 miles an hour.
yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
it's tough though, because that can go back into the setup and how
Yeah.
your car, and depending on where your throttle
Oh,
position
yeah,
is,
yeah.
RPM wise,
That
like you
changes
can
just a little
start
bit.
bucking, and
So that's what you want, though. You want it to feel right.
you want it to feel smooth.
Yeah.
I got a question out of
Yeah.
curiosity, because you are sitting there for 3.5 hours.
Yep.
Someone sits at a desk all day, you know, they start getting carpal tunnel and they have different ailments. Are there any generic or similar ailments to all NASCAR drivers from putting yourself through that much duress on a regular basis?
I wouldn't say so. I would say that we're normally like we're moving around the whole time, right? Like
Still
you're
moving enough.
moving hands off, shifting. A couple of us will actually going down the straightaway. If we're not racing somebody, like you'll take your hand off the wheel and lay it down on the
Got
straightaway,
it.
or like put it on the leg boards and kind of all that stuff. So we're constantly working as far as that scenario goes. So I would say it's different just because it is some physical, but a lot of it is mental for us.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have do you get physically like sore or anything after these types of races?
Yeah, last weekend I did. Last weekend was our first road course race of the year, so we're turning left and right instead of just turning left like Skrill does. He can only turn left on the road. I didn't know if you knew that or not. But
That makes sense.
so our first race turning left and right, like your body is trying to get acclimated back to
just
that.
Adjusting.
So my shoulders were pretty sore last week. My lower back was a little sore from jumping over curbs and stuff last week. But yeah, every racetrack has its own tendencies. Like it depends on the banking, how much G load there is. If you wreck, normally you get pretty sore. So yeah.
In terms of the G-force and stuff like that, in terms of the terms, is there like any special like things you have to do like during like those high G-forces or anything?
No.
Or is it not that bad?
It's not that bad. Like you know how fighter pilots and whatnot, they start breathing weird and whatnot.
You don't have to do
like
that type of stuff.
for us, the first time that I went to Dover, which is another super high banked, it's a mile long racetrack, but super high banked like Bristol concrete racetrack. Getting into the corner is like falling off of a 3-story building. Like you actually drop into the corner.
Yeah.
And it's tough on your body. Like, you have to remember to breathe at that place. Like, you're on edge the entire time, and you will get to the point where you feel like it's like, man, this is tough. Like, I didn't breathe for that whole lap. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I don't know. I really enjoy it. Like, the whole racing side, the competitiveness side, all the work that goes into it. Like, it's a full team sport. Yes, I'm the one holding the steering wheel, but Hayden being the spotter, our crew chief, Travis, all of our engineers, our whole team putting cars together, our pit crew. There's 5 guys on our pit crew. So you have 2 tire changers, 1 tire carrier, a jackman, and a fuel guy. And they're all like ex-D1 athletes or ex-professional athletes from MLB, ex-collegiate swimmers. Our jackman actually went to Olympic trials for swimming. So super tall dude. Our fueler and our tire carrier, they were both football players. So it's wild how athletic you got to be in these situations. But with 5 guys, like, comparing it to an F1 pit stop, right? A lot of guys will be like, man, it's slow. Like, it's more than 3 seconds, right? But they have 20 guys that are working on the car at one time, right? Yeah. We have 5 guys, and our pit stops are down to 8.5 seconds, 9-second pit stops.
Are you guys changing every tire on a pit stop?
Yes.
So 4 guys are on a tire, and then the other guy's gas?
No. So you have 2 tire changers, 1 tire carrier, and a jackman. So they'll jump off the wall. The jackman will post the right side first, right? Get it up.